Thanks, Brian.
You got it. Make sure you're on.
Yeah. Everybody hear me?
Yeah.
I am so excited to talk to you today about Subscribe and Drive, Life in the Weiler FastLane. We are the first to launch an automotive subscription service in our market, this one specifically in Cincinnati. And let me tell you, it has consumed my life for the last 6 to 9 months to get this thing off the ground. It's incredibly complex, but it's really exciting. My name is Kevin Frye. I'm the e-commerce director with the Jeff Weiler Automotive family. We're one of our nation's top 50 dealership groups. And I got to tell you, this spring, I went to one of the big shows, and there was a couple sessions, 2 to 3, that were talking about auto subscription, and being that I'm in the game, I'm like, I got to go see these. And what I heard was horrific. The misunderstanding and the misinformation that was being thrown out there by people that aren't even practicing it scared the dickens out of me. And I'm excited to be here today to kind of clarify the vision of what we're doing and the mechanics. But as I start out, let me ask you a question. How many of you in here have a pet? Oh, any of you, are we advancing? It's the big green one, right?
Right.
Oh, do we have to hit a switch on this? Let's take a look. Oh, I hear something. I'm telling you. I might have you advance it for now. Do you want to do that? Give us a click. Has anybody ever had this experience where you're packing for a conference like DMSC and your animals get in your suitcase? This is literally a picture before I went to Digital Dealer, and for each one of you that have complimented me saying, what a nice mohair jacket you're wearing. It was really a cross between Malty Poo and Rescue Cat. And while you look at that and you think, gosh, Kevin's pets must really love him. In fact, they're trying to either go on the trip with him or to keep him from going. That's not really a realistic picture of what life looks like in our little cabin. This is a more realistic picture of essentially what's going on, because they are waiting for my lovely wife. You would think they're waiting for the Messiah to arrive, and I do not exist unless I have a handful of food in my hand, and even then that's for about 30 seconds. But I share this because we live deep in this valley, and down the road is a horse farm, and they had a litter of English Springer Spaniel pups. And of course, my wife Julie had to go down and see the puppies and hold them and love on them. And how do you think our dog Barney responded to that? Would you believe I have some actual video from when she came back?
Barney, you give Mommy a kiss? Are you jealous I went to go see the other dogs? Please forgive me, please.
Yes, yes. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what we call hashtag snubbed. This went on. For literally a day, he was my best friend. But the reason I share this is I got to tell you, with auto subscription, we've had an unbelievable response with our consumers, but we are getting snubbed by other dealers. I don't know if some of you were on Auto Dealer Live with me when I was on earlier this year. It was like a 30-minute attack. And I got to tell you, I was really disappointed that the biggest critics of what we're doing were other dealers. So this is what I'm going to ask. I'm going to ask that you remain open-minded for the next 30 minutes, because I think by the time I'm done, I'm going to get you very excited about what we're doing and what we're learning. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a brief overview of some of the auto subscription programs that are out there from the manufacturer's standpoint, to include ourselves with Weiler FastLane. And I think the most powerful way that I can give you this message is to share with you several short video clips so you can hear directly from our consumers of what they think about this, rather than a bunch of dealers and vendors up here on this stage. I'm going to intentionally finish by 11:30 because I want to leave a lot of time for questions, because I know you have a lot of questions. So I think the best place to start is why. What's going on in the dark, deep recesses of Kevin's mind to get behind something like this? And this is what I'm going to share with you. I'm always trying to think in the big picture. I'm trying to think way forward of where we're going. And when I look in the last 10 years of where we've been, people are making less money than they were 10 years ago when you take into account the cost of inflation. And when you add on top of that our housing expense is higher than ever before, and we are paying more taxes now than ever before historically, notwithstanding some of the tax reform that's coming on now. So what happens to us as dealers here in this room? Well, our customers, they have no choice on taxes. They're going to prioritize their mortgage payment, and whatever money is left over is what's going to be used for transportation. Who's getting squeezed here? We are. And I'm convinced that the successful dealer of the future will be the one that knows how to provide affordable transportation to our customers. But I don't want to stop there. I want to take you another level further, and I want you to get the gears spinning and really think about this. When people buy a car, most are making a sacrifice. And I'm going to tell you now, it's always been this way. That when that young couple comes into the dealership, they'd really like to get that cool sports car, but they got those young ones, the next little one on the way, they're going to have to make that dreaded decision to get the minivan, right? Or you might want a nice fuel-efficient sedan for driving to work each day. But you keep thinking about, what about in the weekend when I need to haul stuff, or that annual vacation to Florida? I better step up to an SUV where I can hold more people. And at the end of the day, most of our consumers, truthfully, are making a sacrifice on the car they're buying. And then they combine that with a long financing term or lease, and guess what you have? Inflexibility on the second largest purchase decision that they're going to make. And they're going to have about a week or two of new car sensation, and then it's never going to be cleaner than the day they got it. They're going to be riding that thing out 4, 5, 6, 7 years. That's the reality of what our customers have today. Can we do this a little bit better? I believe that auto subscription provides affordable and flexible mobility solutions. And I'm going to show you why it's affordable. And I think I can win you at the end of the day that this is a better solution out there. But rather than hear it from me, why don't we hear it from our very first subscriber, Jerry?
Today I'm excited that I have an all-wheel drive vehicle for a trip I'm taking. So that's one thing that basically it accommodates whatever trips or things going on during the week that you might have. Pretty much accommodates you to not have a fleet of vehicles, which I had 2 or 3 vehicles before. I'm going to try to minimize that through this program. It's pretty sharp. And it's nice and shiny, and it's going to get a little bit of snow on it, but looks pretty hot.
Now, I'm going to tell you there's been a lot of lessons that we've learned coming out of this, and a lot of our initial subscribers were business owners, which makes sense because they understand numbers, and they can pencil the deal and see that this actually makes sense. But the other pattern that we found is that a lot of our initial subscribers were already basically running their own fleet. They had a truck, they had an SUV, they had a sedan. We had one customer that literally had 5 cars that they sold before they started up. So I'm going to jump in and around here, but most of our subscribers, they sign on and get accepted. It's usually about 30 days before they become active because they're literally selling the cars they currently have. But let's talk about the details of Weiler FastLane and how it works. It is a month-to-month agreement, so we've got a lot of flexibility. In fact, you can even pause it at any time. Julie and I paused ours because for the 2, 3 of the last 4 weeks, we're out of town and not using it. Right now, we're at a mid-level tier. It's $950 a month, and that includes access to an entire fleet of vehicles. So in our fleet, we have trucks, sedans, SUVs, sports cars, convertibles, all of those different cars. That payment also includes your auto insurance, all of your maintenance, and your taxes. In fact, if this is your primary transportation solution, you don't need to carry any other auto insurance. You get 2,000 miles per month, which roll over each month. You also get access to our personal concierge. So essentially, this is the way it works. You have an app on your phone, and if I want to flip out of a car, it takes less than a minute to request that, for example, I want to get a truck because I want to haul some stuff this weekend. You'll schedule a time the next day. That vehicle will show up, whether it's at your work, your home, a local restaurant, wherever you want to go. It'll have a full tank of gas. It'll be detailed. And our concierge has an app that will literally tell them how to preset your radio stations, get your Bluetooth paired, move your seat, move your parking pass, your garage door opener, even a conceal and carry. We have seen it all. And this is what happens at the end of the day. You as a subscriber have the perfect car for every occasion. But you want to know what the biggest piece of feedback that we have got back since launching this? We make driving fun again. We've taken all the aggravation out. Would you believe a lot of people don't even fuel their cars anymore because they know we're going to bring it with a full tank of gas. No, they're going to pay it at cost, but we have people when they're getting ready to run out of gas, they just swap into a new vehicle. No more waiting in the service waiting areas. All they have to do is worry about having the best car, the perfect car for every occasion. Let's see what Lloyd has to say.
Favorite part definitely is the idea of you can change cars in a matter of 24 hours, try something different. I've used a truck for weekend work, larger cars for getting the family around where they have to go, so I love the idea of the variety. That's kind of like Christmas in terms of what we're going to get, so that's definitely my favorite thus far. Yeah, I have no doubt, especially with some of the younger generation and what they want in terms of an experience. This definitely provides a unique experience that you can't get anywhere else. So I definitely think it'll catch on, absolutely. It's a commitment of 30 days. If I didn't like it, I would just go buy a car and be on my merry way. But ideally, you can try it, see if you like it. I like it, so I'll be hanging on for quite a while to experience what they have to offer.
Did you ever think you would hear the word "it's like Christmas" with a car dealer? It's usually like a visit to the gates of hell is a lot of the feedback we get. Let me talk briefly about some of the programs that are out there. And Audi On Demand was probably the first around 2014. And so the idea is you can choose a car online, get it delivered, only available in San Francisco. I really don't like using this as an example because it's really more like a high-level rental, and Audi didn't really do a good job communicating what they were doing out there. But this next one most of you are probably familiar with, and that is Book by Cadillac, right? And with Book by Cadillac, you apply for membership, you select your vehicle, it's $1,800 a month, and you get up to 1,800 exchanges, which we call flips per year, and it's a bundled payment, which like ours includes your insurance, maintenance, and taxes, and is available in LA, Dallas, and New York. Right now, Cadillac is not working with local dealers as they test this. And I know this was a bit of a firestorm at NADA. For those of us in here that have a Cadillac point, to include ourselves, either they're not planning on working with dealers, which I would find hard to believe, or they're doing a really poor job of communicating what their future intentions are. So if you're a Cadillac point, I'm with you. I would be a little bit concerned about what direction they're going to take with that. Porsche Passport launched in late December, early January this year out of Atlanta. And they have a mid and an upper tier, $2,000 or $3,000 a month to drive the different brand new Porsches they have. Powered by the same platform that we have, Clutch, so we're very similar. And they're literally running this out of a parking garage next to the headquarters where Clutch is. This is currently available in Atlanta, but what makes Porsche different is that they're doing a really good job communicating. They're acquiring the cars from local Porsche dealers, they're servicing the cars with local Porsche dealers, and when the cars come out of the fleet, they're getting right of first refusal back to the dealers. They have openly communicated that they're looking to try and improve and scale the model so that if you're a Porsche point in here, they can bring it back to you to hopefully make some more money. Canvas, this is the platform owned by Ford. It was formerly Breeze. And with this, you have 1 to 12-month terms. But the cars they're using are exclusively used. They average around 3 years of age. And with this, there's 3 parts to the fee. Subscription vehicle, but you essentially buy how many miles you want to drive each month. And this is only available in San Francisco or LA. Just a heads up, this market is moving so quick. I've been updating this deck literally every 2 weeks. And so if I've missed one, it's probably been a very recent change. How many of you in here are familiar with FAIR? I think you need to get very familiar with it if you're not, and I mean that sincerely. So, Scott Painter, who started True Cars behind FAIR, he's raised over $1 billion of debt equity behind this. That's not something to sneeze at. And imagine this, and I encourage you, go ahead and download the app. You get the app on your phone, you can instantly get pre-qualified for a loan or a lease. And from the comfort of your couch, you can buy that car. Yes, you heard me. And there's no long-term commitment. At any point in time, if you're done with that car, you can turn it in with a 5 days notice. If you want to bundle the payment, you can add insurance and bundle it. But where are they getting the inventory? Who owns the inventory? That's right. We as dealers agree to put our inventory in that site at a price we're willing to sell it. And so if you buy the car from the app, then Fair buys it from us, the dealer. And then when it goes back, as I understand, unless I'm wrong, we get right of first refusal to take that vehicle back if we want, or at that point, Fair can handle the disposal of the vehicle. This is an outside disruptor coming in trying to do this. And I'll jump ahead and just tell you a little bit too. There's leasing companies looking at this. The rental car companies are looking at this. The banks, Bank of America is behind Volvo. It's got a lot of people's attention. And then some of the other ones. BMW is testing in Nashville. Mercedes-Benz is testing in Nashville, Philadelphia, and in Germany. Lincoln testing in California. And Mercedes and BMW are also clearly communicating. They're trying to prove this model to see if they can bring it back to the dealers. I can tell you that with the Mercedes-Benz point ourselves, Mercedes-Benz has been very supportive of our efforts. Some favorable financing, and I know Warren Henry, you're probably seeing some of the same thing down there too. So, what are the pros and cons? The differences between a dealer and OEM program. And with the dealer programs, and we've got 35 franchises. We've got much greater selection of cars, and we're buying outside of our franchises too. So with an OEM program, you're locked into their brand pretty much for selection, right? And then when it comes to how many times you can flip, exchange the cars, most of the dealer programs run limited while the OEM programs have some limits. But here's where I want you to get to thinking, and that is this. When it comes to managing that fleet, the OEMs are much better positioned, much more than us. And it's one thing right now for us as Jeff Weiler, a top 50, to manage a fleet of 100 cars. But imagine this thing takes off and we get up to 1,000 cars and it's 2008, 2009 all over again. Do you think that would be a little bit painful? Say, hell yeah. And if I'm going to step back and give you a 65,000 foot view on this, here's my vision, ladies and gentlemen. If this scales, if this is profitable, and if this model proves, I believe you're going to see a marriage between the OEMs and the dealers with auto subscription, where the OEMs are taking all of those great lease turn-ins and all of that good stuff. They're going to manage the risk. They're going to provide the vehicle to us as a fee, and we're going to be the direct interface with the consumer. So if you want to ask me about the crystal ball, that's going to be it. But this is where dealers have been frustrating the hell out of me. And that is the affordability. How affordable is this? And you know, they'll say $950 a month. Well, oh my God, Kevin, the average car payment is $603, whatever the case may be. All right, did anybody ever hear of a trade-in or a down payment or taxes or maintenance and service and insurance and all these additional costs? Edmunds actually has a really good tool for the total true cost of car ownership. So this is what I did. I took that red Mercedes you saw in the beginning and I pumped it into local zip code for 5 years. And let me show you what the total true cost of ownership is across 5 years per month. $944 a month with 15,000 miles versus auto subscription of $950 with 24,000 miles. And oh, by the way, you're not locked into one car. Oh, by the way, in our case, it's not going to be older than 2 to 3 years. Do you think you might want to pursue that route? Why would you buy at that point? The margins are razor thin. I promise you. We're trying to figure this out. But let me let you hear it from a car guy, Raj, what he thinks about Weiler FastLane.
The idea of getting the cars, like, and switching out of cars, driving different cars every other day, it thrills me, and that's what I'm all about. I'm a car guy. This one, I particularly love it. I love the Cadillacs. They're comfy, they're luxurious, and nice.
I also wanted to add before I move forward, when it comes to the dealer programs that are out there, and I imagine most of you have read automotive news, I'm in it. And I'm here to tell you that, in my opinion, there's really only about 5 of us that are all in on this, with Warren Henry being one in Miami, Don Flo being the best out of the Carolinas, Weiler's in that mix, really trying to figure this out. But let me ask you a question. In today's market, who are the most successful companies? So we can hear it over and over again. I can throw out the buzzword about disruption, right? Traditional automotive retail is under attack, I guarantee. What can we learn from the most successful companies that are out there today? What is the one thing they have in common? I'm going to tell you I know what it is. They all excel at being more consumer-facing. If you walk away with anything from this conference and want to write something down right now, I'm going to give you the best piece of advice I can give you. Every decision you make moving forward from today, you ask yourself this question: does this make us more consumer-facing? If the answer is no, you shouldn't be doing it. If I'm going to have some big old super sale where I trick the customers and give them the fishing rod, do you think that makes you more consumer-facing? We're not going in the right direction. And this is the driving force behind every decision I make. And I am convinced with automotive subscription that this is the best direction. Now, the next customer, I'm not going to lie, I think she's kind of cute. I'd like to go out with her. Customer number 3 is my lovely wife, Julie.
I think I'm most excited about the fact that I'm never really going to have to worry about maintenance on my car again, oil changes, really washing the car. It's going to come to me clean and filled up with gas. When I walked outside and I saw that red Mercedes, I was just so excited. I haven't driven one in a long, long time, and I'm just very, very excited to drive that as well as a lot of the other vehicles as well. I'm Julie, and this is Weiler FastLane.
So when we talk about trying to be more consumer-facing, the downside of the internet for all of us is that it has depersonalized the experience we have with our shoppers. Would we all agree? And so there's always this battle for us as we look at solutions. How can we personalize the consumer experience? And I'm going to tell you, this is where we really see a lot of potential and what excites me. The software platform that we're using behind this is called Clutch. They're based out of Atlanta. But they have an important AI component, and I want to give you a simple description of how it's working. If you become a subscriber, for the first 10 to 12 times you request a vehicle, we're going to manually assign a car to you, okay? What's going to happen is when that car arrives on your app, you're going to get a survey. What did you like about the car you just had? What did you not like about the car you just had? Our concierge is going to talk to you. What did you like? Did you enjoy the truck? Was there anything you didn't like? They're going to engage in you with conversation. All of that data is gathered together on this platform so that we can personalize to you. Because around the 10th to the 12th time we flip with you, we're going to hit a switch and let AI take over. And then it's going to know that, Kevin, when you request an SUV, you like black with leather interior. Or you might like to get a specific sports car, whatever the case may be. It just keeps refining and getting better. But we have some selfish reasons too. Because what happens if one of you wants the truck that he has or she has, and I need to get them out of the truck? Well, they might just get a timely text on their phone that we know that they love the Cadillac CTS. Hey Jim, we just got a brand new CTS in a fleet. Would you like us to deliver that tomorrow? Wow, that's pretty cool. And then selfishly, we're getting the truck back for the next person that needs it. But let's say our imaginary customer doesn't respond. Maybe I already know their birthday or their anniversary at this point. Hey, we would like to give you a free upgrade for the next 3 days with the ZR Corvette. Wow, that's awesome. Another wow moment, but we're moving the car over. There are so many opportunities here. But I'm going to tell you the two biggest things, really the biggest thing for me personally on the testing of this. And it's going to come down to this. We all know in this room that loyalty is at an all-time low with the OEMs. And it's declining even with us as a big dealer groups today. So imagine this. Let's be really realistic. When we sell a car today, we are thrilled if we can see that customer 2 to 3 times a year, and that's hoping and praying that they actually come back to service with us, and getting on our knees and praying that a salesperson gets the alert and actually walks back to talk to the customer. How often does that happen? What if I were to tell you that we're interacting with our customers 2 to 3 times per month? And not only doing that, we're doing it in a non-adversarial relationship where, by the way, they think it's Christmas every time. It's like getting a new car every 2 weeks. Add into that if I get you bought into this program and take you out of the traditional buying cycle of 4, 5, 6 years, maybe I can monopolize the market. Am I getting you to start to think about this? I'll give you another example. We had someone that had a bankruptcy, and not all people with bad credit are bad people. They have a loved member that gets cancer, and next thing you know, you're $500,000 in debt, and you have to declare bankruptcy. What are their options? Special finance, high interest rate leasing, and what about the selection of cars? What if I were to tell you that we had them in a Mercedes-Benz in less than 24 hours? So what is our risk? We charge your credit card once a month, and if all of a sudden you can't pay your credit card, you're out of the program. Not a hell of a lot of exposure. Do you see where I'm going? That there's so many opportunities and windows and avenues. I'm going to tell you now that 1 to 2 years from now, I could be standing up here and tell you it didn't work. But we're willing to do that because we are convinced that the lessons we are learning today are going to be invaluable to our future to try and become better. Let's see what Cole has to say about his experience with Weiler FastLane.
I think for me it's the flexibility and just being able to have the entire fleet at your fingertips whenever you want. And I think when you pair that with the amazing customer service and great customer experience, it really, I don't think one could go without the other and it could be the same experience, but when you put them together, it's just really pretty fantastic. I can think of several different case studies of people who this would fit for. So people like me who have a lot of variety of needs and don't want to own an entire garage of different vehicles to meet those. Car enthusiasts, which I think I also fall into that category. But even people who just are tired of doing the same old thing and want some variety. I think this is a great way to scratch all those itches, so to speak. And I think it has to catch on. What I would say is what really takes it over the edge for me is the customer service and the experience. Just having the availability of the fleet of vehicles doesn't really mean anything if you can't meet those customer needs. So I would say don't overlook that when you really add in the world-class customer service that Steve and Solomon and the guys are providing. It just kind of takes it over the top.
Haven't we been chasing that for years? How do we provide world-class customer experience on an ongoing level? I think and I hope I am convincing you with the very words of our own customers to a very cynical dealer world out there that I think we're on to something that's pretty big. But let me tell you, the number one question we've got since day one that I didn't anticipate, it was, when is the upper level going to come out? So we started out with this mid-level. Now you guys started out high. We probably should have followed suit. So we've had a waiting list since January for the upper tier. We're looking to launch in July, and I know we're going to cannibalize what we call our trendsetter fleet from people wanting to switch over. I really shouldn't be surprised. Trip Rackley, who developed Clutch, has a saying which is great. Early adopters are irrational. If you had that friend that bought the HD TV for about $12,000, I think you know what I mean. But this is, I can tell you that in my entire career in automotive, I have never seen anything like this create more excitement with our consumers that are out there. With the press, we have been featured on every TV station, every radio station. They're on the talk shows. It's syndicated nationally. I thought I got a prank call, but the Today Show called out and filmed all day. So with NBC, it has not aired yet. Don't ask me how all that stuff works, but good Lord, they needed it yesterday. I'm going to wrap up with a final clip of some of our press coverage.
Weiler FastLane, which is a car subscription service that allows people to get a different car delivered as often as they want for a set monthly price.
And it's unbelievable. And say, well, how can they do it? Well, it's basically you get like a different new car every few months.
What this does is it includes taxes and insurance. Think of what you pay in car insurance. So not a bad idea, you know?
So let's put it all together before I take questions. Why auto subscription? Why am I excited about it? Why are we pursuing it? Number one, does this make us more consumer facing? Absolutely. And not only that, the flexibility. It's like Netflix for cars. And don't our customers deserve a whole hell of a lot more than what we've been delivering since the beginning of time? And that final aspect, this is our biggest challenge, is the affordability. We have to re-educate our consumers on the total true cost of car ownership. That's our biggest obstacle, and I'm sure that's why we get a lot of business people, they get it right out of the gate. But when I put the entire picture together, and the biggest thing driving me and what keeps me up at night is, ladies and gentlemen, this disruption is not going to go away. If we don't figure this out, someone else, I guarantee most likely, will move in and well. But I've got news for you, and I'm going to preach from the pulpit here. The people that should be disrupting the industry are ourselves. We need to disrupt ourselves with strong leadership. That is the answer to our future. Call me crazy, but was that worthy of a round of applause? I told you I'd leave plenty of time to open it up for questions, and I'm sure you're going to have plenty. So, absolutely, go right ahead.
What's the relationship between Clutch and the dealers? Who owns the car during the time?
Oh, we own the car, I guarantee. Yeah, Clutch, down in Atlanta, they developed a software platform, and even when they ran their model, they were not making efforts really to try and be profitable. They wanted to prove the software platform. So we're managing the fleet. I know there's some gears spinning around here right now. The most complex part is, what do you think? Depreciation, correct? And that's not built into the platform. So I'd be curious what you guys are doing.
So you guys are having to figure out your...
Oh, we got basically some kind of hillbilly rig with vAuto where we're checking it weekly to get it going. And listen, I say that Cox Automotive has some backing behind this, and they've already come in like, what can we do to help you? Which is, what can we do to monetize this? And my answer was, first, let Kevin make some money. But if they would integrate vAuto into that package, that's going to be key. So depreciation is definitely huge.
You guys set the price then, the $950 set by you?
Oh yeah, you can set whatever. And so, I've been using your guys' group. Yeah, they're using more high-end cars. Everybody out there is a little bit different in their pricing. And I'm going to jump ahead now and tell you, so when it comes to the models, there's no right or wrong answer right now. I want you to really think about this, because if I get up here and get a couple of you up here and we're all running auto subscription, imagine this, I'm running this separate entity in the middle. It's called Weiler FastLane. Where do I get the cars? Who am I buying them from? All right, so I'm buying them from Jeff Weiler Automotive family. So I could do that a few ways. I can buy them at MSRP, make money in the front. I can buy them at cost, get them really favorable, right? And then when I'm done with that car, I can take that car and depreciate the hell out of it, provide it back to my dealership at a really favorable price, and make money on the back. So I can make a model where I make money in the front and the back, and this and the thing in the middle loses. Am I really worried about it? If that's my goal, it's still me making money in the front and the back. Maybe I make money in the front, not in the back. Maybe I make no money in the front, but I went through 80 different pro forma models before I decided on a model that we're going to pursue. And that is what we're doing right now. We are trying to prove the model, see if we can scale it. And I've read about you guys and some of the other ones out there, and I will tell you this, for the ones we can't pencil it, I've heard that, I'm with you. We're all kind of finding this 100-car mark, so that makes me feel a little bit more confident that we're on to something. But it's tricky. It's complex. Next question. Yes?
How many people do you have? How many vehicles do you have, and how many people do you have on the subscription?
Right now, we're in the low to mid-40s for active subscribers, and people not paused, actually doing it. Our goal is to get to 100 people by the end of the year. Our fleet right now is in the low 50s. This is another key thing. It's a good question, Doug, because in a perfect world, If I had 100 subscribers, I'd have 100 cars, right? And so what you have to do, we start out with a 1.5 car per each subscriber ratio, and you try to start managing that ratio down so I don't have assets out there that are not performing. The other key thing that's key to this, you just had mics if they want them, is you got to keep people flipping cars. So I heard some clown at Digital Dealer like, well, the problem is they get in on a subscription and they never get out of their car. No. The average amount of times we're finding they flip or exchange is 2.5 times per month. When they first get it, they might flip every few days because they're so damn excited and their kids are telling them what to get. It's like shopping. But no, they're flipping, and we need that because think about it. If I've got 100 subscribers and Marla wants to get the nice brand new Porsche that we have in the fleet, and you're sitting in that Porsche and I got to get you out of it, we have that AI going around, but if everybody keeps flipping cars, at any day of the week, I know 3 trucks are coming in, 2 sedans are coming in, and we can swap them out. So part of the management of the platform is just to keep the activity going on amongst the users. Paul.
I saw Jim speak at the Auto News Retail Forum for NADA, and he mentioned that the rates people were paying were in the vicinity of 10 to 20% premium over what they would pay if they just leased the vehicle. For the convenience. What do you think about that?
I think he's full of shit. I'll leave it at that. No. These margins are, yeah, he'll second it. No. Yeah. No, I'll tell you, seriously, and part of the reason we got into it too, and we were joking last night, we pay full price. I'm all in because I wanted to learn it as a consumer too. Julie was looking at getting a 4-door Jeep Wrangler. So being a car guy, with 4 Chrysler points and understand, I'm like, all right, first off, Jeep's a love or hate thing, right? It's a different ride. Some people love them, some hate them. I'm thinking, I really need to get an extended test drive. So I'm going to talk to one of my stores so we can keep for a month. We have people that are using auto subscription as extended test drives. They're literally driving 5, 6 different cars. And then when they come out of the fleet, where are they buying? From us. So once again, there's just so many different angles and approaches of what they're taking that we can do with it. Next? Yes, David. And by the way, David was one of the earliest auto subscribers with Clutch out of Atlanta, him and Lonnie. So, Dave.
That's actually what I was going to share because I have this. I'm just like Julie. I pay full price.
Yes, I knew that was coming up.
But being in Atlanta and having the opportunity early on to have this, I only did it because I wanted to learn. I was really skeptical. I didn't think that we would have it, and almost 3 years later, we still have a subscription. We're actually going to sell one of our other cars and do 2 subscriptions and never own a car, because every time I pencil it, I look at it, whether I'm a cash buyer or I'm a payment buyer, it's still a better deal. And what are the 2 things that customers hate the most about buying a car? They hate the financing side of it, and they hate the trade-in. And guess what I don't have to do ever? Ever. Think about this. And that's where this whole loyalty thing that Kevin talks about is so vitally important, because if I never have to trade in a car, I never have to worry about financing and sitting in a finance office, even as somebody who's been in the car business their entire life, I can drive whatever I want when I want. I'm going to pay about the same amount of money as if I were to do that. And I get to have great loyalty with the people who really I like, and I like them more because I don't have to finance and I don't have to worry about the trade-in. So if you think about that, that's why I believe that this model will work for sure.
Yeah, I'll share one quick funny story if I go to you, Yago. So trucks. We had several trucks in the fleet because, you want to haul mulch that week and whatever the case may be. The feedback we've got on these trucks? We got these nice big 4-door, GMCs and all that stuff. They're like, I don't want to scratch it up. I don't want to mess it up. We're like, listen, we got bed liners. Don't worry about it. We're in the business. They're actually asking us to get a piece of shit truck and still pay us $950 a month. God's honest truth. Because they feel more like, we'll satisfy your need. So, Yago.
What is the average customer pay, and how many customers do you need for this program to start making money?
Well, there's not a definitive answer, Yago, because it depends on how you're going to, what type of vehicles you're going to put in your fleet. I would share this with you. I have not a 0 bit of desire to do a lower rate or a lower plan where we're at right now. We're razor thin at Trendsetter. When we go up to the what we're calling the prime tier, that's going to offset some of what we're doing with the mid in terms of margin.
$1,000 range?
Are you talking about the values of the cars?
No, like.
Well, it's $950 for Trendsetter, and it's going to be $1,500 for the Prime tier. But we're seeing different rates around the country based upon the median cost of the vehicle they're putting in the fleet. And so you might want to talk to Peter about what they're doing down in Warren Henry, which is definitely a higher end vehicle in Miami area. Yes?
You put like a nearly new used car in to mitigate some of the depreciation?
Yeah, we've got a mix. And I mean, this is a lot of different meetings, but think about it from a little bit selfishly from a dealer perspective. I've got some aged vehicles. I've got Mercedes-Benz that really wants to support the program, some loaners that are out there. I can put those in, as well as used cars that we have that might be aged. We're constantly managing that mix. Where we fell short, and this is another interesting story, and there's so many things come out of this. We set out the whole fleet, and you know where we ended up short on? What type of cars? Sedans. Sedans, what? Sedans just sell killer these days. Hell, Ford's out of the damn business, right? So then why? And this goes back to my hypothesis, whatever you want to call, is that people want to get a nice fuel-efficient sedan during the week, but because of all of the utility stuff they do and hauling stuff around, they go ahead and switch to the SUV. So we have all these people that are driving sedans during the week, and then they switch out on the weekend. So the primary car that we've had to buy, believe it or not, has been sedans. So. Yes? I don't necessarily know if I want to answer that. That's part of the secret sauce, where everybody's a little bit different of how long you want to depreciate them, but I'll just say at least a year. How's that? Yeah, and so some of these things for the folks doing it are holding pretty close to their chest that we're trying to figure out. Yeah. Yes?
Capital requirements getting up front.
It's expensive.
You know, where did you find money, and how did you finance it, those things?
We didn't find the money in my little cabin. You know, I got to be 100% candid. I mean, we're a large group. I mean, we're a top 50, and so we have the capital. We also have a very progressive culture that we're willing to fail. I'm telling you, that's the biggest component of it, and that's why I can stand on this stage and say that a year or two from right now, we might not have it. But what's our exposure really at that point? If we sell off the fleet, and then back to, I might have some loss, but what we're learning in the process and relationships we're building, if you are remaining stagnant today as a dealer, I got some great news for you. You're going to be famous. You're going to be in everybody's PowerPoint in 5 or 10 years about the Polaroid blockbuster story we've all heard a million times. We don't want to be that. We're trying to keep moving forward and see if we can find a better way.
What's your radius out that you go? As far as, I know you're a big...
Yeah.
So how far out do you go for your customers?
We're not super far out right now. About the longest drive is about 30, 40 minutes. So we intentionally defined a small operating area. And it's been funny. We literally I had a guy from Pennsylvania that demanded to be in the program. I'll drive. I'm like, you know, you kill the freaking miles in our cars. No. The only exceptions we made is we have people that like live outside the area and they're willing to exchange in our operating area. We are intentionally growing slow. We are intentionally keeping it in a small operating area so that we can figure out how to deliver world-class service, which I think we're doing, and we've been slowly expanding a little bit every couple months. So a lot of room to go in that. Other questions? I've answered everybody's questions. Brian, I might hand back to you. I think they're satisfied.